sentences into equations. So they're going to give us sentences today, and we got to look for important words that tell us different math operators. Okay? What math operation do you think the words more than, in addition to, plus, increased, or in total mean? Bryce? Add. Very good. All of those words are different ways to say to add. Let's also add the word sum, S-U-M, on there. Okay. What operation do you think less than, fewer, subtract, minus, difference mean? Jack? Subtract. There is a clue in there. Everybody put a box around the phrase less than. Less than is a special phrase that we have to have a special rule with, and we'll talk about that when we get there. Put a box around there so that you remember. What math operation would you use the word product of or times, Marilyn? Multiply. Multiply. And what math operation would we use the phrase quotient or divided by? Divide. Divide. Words like the same as or equal to indicate an equal sign. We're going to add one here. The word is. The word is. The word is also meaning equals. Okay, so we're going to translate the sentence into an equation. I'm going to read this out loud. You on your own, I want you to underline any word or words that mean add, subtract, multiply, divide, or an equal sign. Nobody says anything out loud. All you're going to do is to underline words that mean any of those add, subtract, multiply, divide, or an equal sign. Okay? I'll read it out loud for you. 13 is 7 more than 1/5 of a number. 13 is 7 more than 1/5 of a number. Zayden, what words did you underline? Is and more than. Did he miss any?
No.
Of. Very good, Marilyn. Of. Don't forget of. Because we didn't use the phrase less than, we're just going to translate this. What's this first word? That's just a number, 13. Is means equals. What's this word? 7. Then Marilyn, more than means add. She was a step ahead of us. How do I represent 1/5 of a number?
Simply 1/5.
1/5 of a number. What does of mean? Multiply. What's a number?
Number, any number.
Okay, and how would you represent that? X, Y, any variable you pick. 90% of the time, you're probably going to pick X, right? So you would put your X right next. Yep, that's a variable. A letter stands for an unknown. A number, we don't know what the number is, so we replace it with a letter. Okay. The less conversation we have, the faster and easier this will be. But as you guys chime in, you're confusing everyone around you, and that is not acceptable. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing with number 2. Underline any words that mean add, subtract, multiply, or divide. 8 less than 3 times a number is negative 23. Underline any words or words that mean add, subtract, multiply, divide, or an equal sign. 8 less than 3 times a number is negative 23. Petro, what did you underline? Less than? Times? Is. This really should say times. Miss Hoff has a typo in there. Did he miss any? Nope, I think he did a good job. But look what's in our phrase here.
A number.
Less than. This is that special one. Remember this? Okay, so remember we got a special one here. Let's drag this straight down. What's this first number? 8. What does less than mean? Subtract. How do you represent 3 times a number? 3x. Is means equal. And then what's this say? That's a number. Now, you can't quit here. Less than is a special phrase. After you write it, you have to flip-flop the order. Whatever is in front of the minus sign needs to move behind the minus sign. And whatever's behind the minus sign needs to move to the front. So these two pieces need to change. So my final answer would be 3x minus 8 equals negative 23. Less than is the only one you do that to. Less than is a special one that you have to swap the order. Okay, I'm going to read got it A out loud. See if you can write the equation on your own, and then I'll call on somebody. Underline the words first and then translate it. A says 15 equals 3 more than 6 times a number. 15 equals 3 more than 6 times a number. Underline all your words that mean math operations and write that equation on your own, and then I will call on someone. 15 equals 3 more than 6 times a number. All right, who thinks they have this one? Jack?
15 equals 3 plus 6x.
Thoughts? Agree or disagree with him? Agree. He's 100% correct. I saw some thumbs up. He's 100% correct. Good job. Good job. You were to be writing. Okay. All right, let's go to the next one. See if you can do this one. 10 increased by a number 6 is 5. Cross off the word 6. Cross off the word 6. 10 increased by a number is 5. This off has an extra word in there, sorry. 10 increased by a number is 5. Give the answer for me. Okay, give me 1 second. Don't hand them to him. That's how you get them taken away. Okay. Zayden, what did you put for this one?
Negative 10x.
Thoughts? Agree or disagree? I would disagree. What's increased mean? Add. So 10, careful, 10 plus x equals 5. If you put a 1 in front of that, that's totally fine. You do not have to have it there, but you can have it there. Remember, a number is your variable. Okay? C, try this one on your own. I'm not even going to read it. Everybody do it right now. C, and then I'm going to call on somebody. This one I kind of throw you a curveball, didn't I?
Yes.
Okay. What's the first word that you underlined?
Different.
Difference. And what does difference mean? You're subtracting, but usually they have a number in front, right?
Yeah.
So difference is actually going to go where the word and is. And is like your placeholder. And by itself doesn't mean anything. But when the math operator comes first, and you're like, I don't know what numbers I'm subtracting. I know I'm supposed to subtract, but I don't know which numbers. And tells you where to put it. Okay? 12 and a number. So and is going to be where your subtraction goes. So how would I represent 12 and a number replacing and with subtraction? 12 minus x, because a number is your variable. What's your next important word? Is means equals 18. So if your sentence starts with product, difference, sum, you're going to look for that word and it's going to tell you where to put it. Questions so far? All right. Here's the curveball of the day. Sometimes we have to look for key phrases to indicate you need parentheses. Remember, parentheses look like this. If you ever see times the sum or times the difference, those two phrases tell you that you need to put the sum or difference in parentheses. So everything that we did never said times the sum. It might have said times a number, which is fine. But as soon as you see times the sum or times the difference, we know we have to have parentheses. Flip your paper over. Okay, I took these straight off your online homework. So this is exactly what your problems are going to say today. Translate the sentence into an equation. The product of 7 and Goran's savings is 133. Use the variable g to represent Goran's savings. So they tell us what letter to use. Somebody tell me an important word in there. Jack?
Product.
Product means?
Divide.
Nope, multiply. Now, here's one of those weird times, right? It's way at the beginning. So what word am I looking for? And. Wherever and is, that's where we're going to multiply. So they want us to multiply what? 7 times.
133.
No.
X.
7 times Goran's savings. Why does it have to be G?
Because that's the same.
Because at the end it says use the variable G to represent Goran's savings. Equals 133. So many times people raise their hand and like, I don't know why I'm getting this wrong. And the pop-up will say, make sure you use the right variable. That just means you use the wrong letter. They're going to tell you what letter to use today. So pay attention to that, okay? Okay. Let's look at the next one. Twice the difference of a number and 2 is equal to 5. Use the variable c for the unknown number. What variable are we going to use? C. Okay? Twice the difference of a number and 2 is equal to 5. Somebody raise your hand and tell me a key word in there. Courtney? Difference means what? Subtract. We're going to subtract. Marilyn, do you have another important word in there? Is means, and I'm even going to take more than that. Is equal to means equal. Jack, do you see something else? What do you see? Twice. What does twice mean? It means times 2 specifically. Very good. So this means we're going to multiply times 2. Now, this phrase right here, twice the difference, is a special phrase where we have to use parentheses. Jack is 100% correct that I want to take something times 2. So I start with a 2, and then I have to put in parentheses what I'm subtracting. What am I subtracting?
5.
Careful. You got to have 2 things that you're subtracting.
5.
Twice, listen, Twice took care of our times 2, so we're done with this now. Difference of a number and 2. So what am I subtracting? I have to have 2 things I'm subtracting. What minus what?
Minus 2.
C minus 2. A number, which we don't know what it is, we're using C, and 2. Now what comes next? Equals 5. That one's a little bit harder.
Let me take off my candle.
Twice the difference of a number and 2. All right, let's look at the next one. Triple B less 4 equals 8. Use Y. Oh, sorry. Never mind. It tells us what to use. Wow, Hoff. It tells us to use B. Oh, my Lanta. I'm going to call on Bryce in just a minute, but I'm going to let everybody give a second to think. I know he's already got this one. Triple B less 4 equals 8. Triple B less 4 equals 8. Bryce, what'd you write? Whoops, 3B minus 4 equals 8. Thoughts?
Correct.
Correct. Triple means times 3, and you didn't fall for it. They used just the word less. Less doesn't mean anything special, just subtraction. 4 equals 8. Nicely done. Okay, let's go to the next one. Try this one. The total of 3 and 5 times J equals 8. The total of 3 and 5 times J equals 8. Underline your words that mean different operations to start with. The total of 3 and 5 times J equals 18. Somebody raise your hand and tell me an important word. Courtney? Total means what? Adding. Now, because our sentence starts with that, what other word is important then? And. When it starts with a word like that, you got to look for the word and, because that's going to tell you, that's going to tell you where your plus sign needs to go. Okay? Marilyn, do you have another important word in there? Times means multiply. Anybody else see another important word? Jack? Equals means equals. Okay, so everybody take a minute now. See if you can write this as an equation. The word and tells you where to put the plus sign.
Is that right?
Tegan, what'd you write?
Times J equals
100%. Put your 5 times your J. Don't put an X in there. We don't use X as multiplication anymore. You could put a dot, or you can just put the number next to the letter. Question. The line over what?
5. It's one like
I just have a long 5. Okay. Let's look at the next one. 5 times the sum of x and 3 equals 36. 5 times the sum of x and 3 equals 36. Don't use that for multiplication, though, remember. I know, but don't use an X. Use a dot. Otherwise, it looks like a variable. Now you're in algebra. You cannot have an X unless you're talking a variable. That's right. Okay. Somebody raise your hand and tell me an important word in here. Petro? Times, and I'm going to expand that, times the sum. Times is important because it means multiplication. But times the sum is one of those important phrases. What does that tell us?
The sum.
What did we write down about times the sum? We have to use parentheses. Okay? So 5 times the sum. 5's going to get written down right away, and then I'm going to have a parenthesis. And when 5 is directly next to the parenthesis, that means multiplication. So the question is, inside my parenthesis, what am I going to write? Nope. Okay, stop. 5 times the sum. So I'm multiplying when we add. So in my parentheses, what math operation's happening?
Times and plus.
Adding. Times is out here. We're going to add. What things are we adding?
3 plus 3.
X plus 3 because of the word and. And tells us where to put that. X plus 3 equals 36. Times the sum we put as one phrase because it indicates parentheses. Let's cross the next one off. See if you can get that bottom one on your own. 1/2 of X is equal to 3. 1/2 of X, is equal to 3. 1/2 of X is equal to 3. You can do it that way, or you can do like how he has, so he doesn't have that. Either way is correct. Okay. What is 1/2?
1/2.
What does that look like?
1/5.
1/2. 1/2. Of means times X. Now you can put a dot with an X next to it, or you can just write your X right next to your fraction. Is equal to means equals 3. Either one of these would be correct. You can put the dot if you want to, or you can just have the X right next to the 1/2. Okay, now when you do this for homework, I am not going to require that you turn in work paper because you're just writing equations. I think some of you may want to try to pencil it out on this. Some of you may want your own scratch paper, which is fine, but I'm not going to make you turn it in. Okay? You have to try it before you get to call myself or Mr. Breest over and say, I don't know how to do this one. We have to see where you're started. Okay? No interruptions, no noises, no tapping, no grunting and moaning and getting mad. Get your stuff out and get started.